Next, we'll take a moment to understand the different types of voters. The most common type of voter are regular voters. A regular voter is one who meets all three of the following criteria and thereby is eligible to cast a regular ballot. The voter has a valid ID. The voter is in the correct precinct. The voter's stated name is an acceptable match to the name that appears on the electronic poll book. A provisional voter is one who meets one or more of the following criteria and thereby must vote a paper ballot. The voter's name is not found on the electronic poll book. The voter is marked absentee or provisional on the electronic poll book. The voter does not provide proper ID. The voter has changed his or her name and does not have the legal proof required to complete Form 10L. The voter has moved from one Franklin County voting precinct to another without changing his or her voter registration. The voter was challenged before the election, a hearing was held, and the challenge was found to have merit by the Board of Elections. The voter's eligibility was challenged by the PEO on Election Day, and the voter refuses to complete the affidavit oath examination of person challenged form. Let's talk about IDs for a moment. There are many types of acceptable IDs that a voter can use to establish identity. See a Guide to Valid Photo IDs and a Guide to Valid Non-Photo IDs in the Gold Roster section of the manual for a complete list. Here are a few of the most common. The most common photo ID is a current Ohio driver's license that displays an expiration date that has not expired. On each card, the license number is designated on the bottom right corner of the ID card, above the signature and expiration date, near the small photo. A voter's address on an Ohio driver's license or state ID does not need to match the voter's stated address or the address listed on the electronic poll book. The license also comes in a vertical orientation for voters under 21 years of age. We accept all military IDs. We do, however, ask that a precinct election official be allowed to determine that it is indeed a military ID card of the person who is presenting it. Please keep in mind that military IDs may not include a name, address, or photo. They may not include an expiration date, but if it does, the ID cannot be accepted if it has expired. And it may be a copy of the card. We can also accept non-photo ID. In order to be processed as a regular voter, the voter's non-photo ID must meet the following criteria. If the ID does not, the voter must vote provisionally. Criteria that must be met for all valid non-photo ID are: must contain the correct name and current address of the voter and conform to the information that appears on the electronic poll book. They must be the actual paper letter, statement, or form, or a printed copy of the electronically transmitted letter, statement, or form. It may not be an electronic form shown on a phone, tablet, or other electronic device. And they must be current within 1 year of the election day for which the voter is presenting it. Ohio law does not allow for the following forms of ID to be accepted by PEOs. Driver's license or photo ID issued by a state other than Ohio. A Social Security card. Last 4 digits can be used on a provisional ballot envelope only. A passport. A birth certificate, unless the voter still lives in the house where he or she resided at birth and the birth certificate contains the home address. An insurance card, or any registration acknowledgement from the Franklin County Board of Elections. All other documents from the Board of Elections are acceptable identification as government documents.